The detectives had been there all afternoon, and while they were there, they were spotted an alligator with an object in his mouth. As the detective got closer, they fired one round to the alligator. The alligator dropped the object that he had in his mouth, and we were able to retrieve Taylen's body intact. Is now being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. I can tell you now that Taylen's mom, Miss Jeffries, her body was stabbed multiple times.
What's happening, everybody? Whiteboard Radio back with another one, and this is the raw little aftermath of the Taylen case that we are planning to go and search for tomorrow. Unfortunately, a few hours after I did that live, where we wanted to go out, help the community, pleased to ask, horrific news and the worst possible outcome on this case was announced. They ended up finding his body remains in the mouth of an alligator that the police had to shoot to recover it. And in the press conference, they said that the father stabbed the mother multiple times. It's all nothing has been officially released yet. On this video, I just want to give you my raw response to it. But I want to explain the even worse ending to this, because I want to talk about what's going to happen to this guy in prison. And it's not going to be everybody's way of thinking. It's just not. I keep it real over here, so I'm going to give it to you raw. And this is why I like to do true crime, because I've experienced the system. I know that life, and I know what happens to different type of level offenders. And unfortunately, this has just a really bad outcome all the way around. But wrapping everybody up, and if you don't know, if you haven't seen it live, I'll give you a quick recap on this case. There was a neighbor heard a noise in the apartment complex, and the apartment complex was notified, and they went, looked around, and found Passion, who was murdered in the apartment. Little Taylen wasn't there. His dad had checked into the hospital with injuries on his arms, and he was not working with police. He wasn't being cooperative. And then the rest, they asked for volunteers, and again with the alligator and the outcome. It's just very horrific watching the media interview with his family. You could tell that this mother, such a young woman, only 20 years old, and just moved to Florida to better her life. She's only down here for 1 month. And the family said that on her breaks, she would call, FaceTime, want to speak with her son. She sounded like a good mom. And at that point, her family they were hoping for the best outcome, which would have been finding him alive. With this horrific outcome, there's no doubt in my mind or anybody's mind that this guy's going to get a very, very long time in prison. He's either going to get life in prison or the death penalty. Either or, he'll be in prison for a very long time. Even if he gets death penalty, in the state of Florida, it's not like they or anywhere for that matter, they don't put the needle, they don't give you the needle or the chair the next week. He'll be in prison for 20 plus years, maybe even longer, before he even reaches there. And they'll house him in a state prison. He'll be in a T building. That's the highest risk. That's the highest security risk there is. And unfortunately, most of the people that he's housed with in that building, in that dorm, in the entire quad, all the dorms combined, will also have similar charges to him. So this places him, unlike most of these videos I do with what will happen to this person in prison, whether it's a celebrity or a true crime case. Um, this is going to put him directly in a T building dorm. He's going to be surrounded by people who have similar charges, and if they don't have murders, they're going to have a lot of armed robberies, uh, reoffender acts, just something that would place you in prison for a long time. I was in one of these dorms once, and it was super scary, super scary. Um, I slept with a knife under my pillow because it wasn't like anywhere else I was in prison at. You know, at the time I was in one of these buildings. I had broke a lot of the rules inside a prison, and like when you break the rules, your custody can go up. And you know, in prison you have it's very alpha male, and testosterone's flying. It's the land of the bullies. You know, it's gang life. So you always have to be on guard, and you know, it's normal for you to have to fight somebody or whatever. Always be ready. That's just normal. In the majority of the prison. But when you get to these T buildings and this higher security buildings, you really have to be careful, and that way of thinking has to leave you. Um, these guys have nothing to lose, nothing to lose, and they all have they most of the people in these in the T building, for the majority of the guys, they have all snapped. They have all done exactly what little Taylen's father did. You know, it was his birthday. He spent his 21st birthday killing his son and the mother who gave birth to his son. Everybody has bodies in these dorms. Everybody does. So you have to approach the way you live in there very, very careful. You can't. There's no fighting in there. And if there's conflict, you have to be very calculated and very smart how you approach it and what happens. And God forbid, my biggest fear in there was letting any of those guys know how much time that I had left to do. I had less than 3 years to do, and these guys were never getting out. That'd be a target on me like no other if they found out. That was the biggest thing that I was trying to keep from anyone knowing. Okay, my point to me telling you this is I did have a situation inside this dorm once with a Spanish guy, and it was because I've been in prison for some time, and I thought that I thought he was. I thought I it was. I thought wrong. I thought this guy was disrespecting me. I thought that he tried me, and he never did. And thankfully, I had a roommate that had about 30 years left. He had a cell phone in the room. He wasn't a leader of a gang, but he was higher up in a gang. But he taught me how to communicate. The art of communication is very important. Um, he read my body language, and he knew I was going to crash out on this guy once, and we were locked in the cell. He told me I might not want to do that because he's seen this guy get people airlifted out of this prison a few times, and he's not going to fight. He's going to stab you. Okay, and he also had life. Okay, I had to let it sink in, and he talked me out of it. But these people in these dorms were the father's going. They all have murdered people. They've all snapped like that. Um, and this is what is very disturbing about this case. It is Florida. I've been there. Um, People are going to be tuned in and watch this because it's a horrific outcome, and they're going to you know, feel vindicated when he gets life in prison or the death penalty. The death penalty is a different ball game, but even still, the time he has to serve until then, um, this is not like he is a pedo or something like that, or a chomo. Those people are hated and tainted no matter where they go. There's no justifying it. There's no it's okay. There's none of that. They have a rough time all the way around. But in this instance, man, he's going to be around people who have done the same thing. And in their eyes, okay, this is very hard for me to explain to people who have never lived this life, who have never went down this path. But I'm just keeping it real. In their eyes, he didn't do anything wrong. And let me explain it. First off, he's 21 years old, so he barely missed the youthful offender prison system, which is completely different than adult. It's actually worse. He barely missed it. He'll go to an adult camp, and it's exactly what I'm saying, which was T building. But he's not going to be looked at um, like a chomo. He's not going to have a target on his back. None of that. He's more than likely going to join a gang. So he's going to have a family and be accepted just as that is. It's very hard to go to prison in Florida without having to join a gang. It's very hard, and especially nowadays. And good luck standing on your own. Y'all hear the recorded phone calls that I upload from time to time. You hear the stories. This guy, when he gets there, he's not going to be tainted. He's not going to be have a hard time. It'll be accepted. It's not going to be looked at as weird in a weird way in this land of this different planet. It'll be overlooked. And if he does join a gang, that'll be his family. And he has just everyday prison life to deal with. But they won't take the trash out with him. You know, you hear me say that a lot in these videos when I tell y'all what will happen to people when they go to prison, and it just makes this story so sad. It makes this story so sad. This one hit me hard, y'all. I did want to really go out there and help the family. I saw the family beg, and I saw them in need, and I felt, you know, the family that was speaking to the media. I felt the pain, and then as you learn, it's this guy's birthday. You learn this lady is trying to make a better life for herself. Just moved to Florida. She's a good mom, always in contact with her son. It is just so horrific. The alligator thing. I mean, it's almost movie script. Unfortunately, though, man, he'll be accepted in there. Everyday prison life is all he has to deal with, and, which is completely different than, let's just say, he had a target on his back, like we normally talk about when I do these videos. Whether the person has a pedo charge or chomo charge, this person is got a target on their back. They have to worry about attacks all the time, people taking the garbage out. He doesn't have to do that because of the severity of what's going on and because where they're going to house him. The system is so strange. I feel very weird explaining this to people because I know it doesn't fit the happy ending. I know you guys want to hear me say that somebody will get him in there, but unfortunately, I can't. I can't lie. The system alone, the whole word, it's weird to me, being that I experienced it, and sometimes things don't make sense like this. But like I said, this one hit me really different, and it's sad. It really is sad. On the other hand, if he goes to, if he gets life, I'll leave people with some type of hope, I guess. If he does get life, he'll be in a T building like that for some time. But this is something I didn't experience. I don't know how long he'll sit in there until they'll ship him to death row. They don't have guys there forever. He's got to be close to his death date. And that I couldn't tell you. I've never experienced it. But I have been where he's going. It's nothing pretty. It's one of the worst dorms I've ever been in my life. I've seen so much blood in that dorm. Horrific things. rapes, stabbings, gang hits, exploit people getting exploited, manipulated, put down on. It is it's the devil's playground. Is that dorm? Every night I slept with a knife under my pillow. I was scared. I was scared. I was really scared. That's where he's going. But it'll become normal to him. He'll be accepted. Unfortunately, no target on his back. It is what it is. But you know, he did some horrific things to a little 2-year-old boy. And his mother. And one day he'll have to face the real judge, the ultimate judge. And he'll have to answer to him one day for what he did. Justice for Taylen, justice for passion, keeping it real. Shout out to everybody who wanted to join the live and help guide us through. Everybody keep this family in your prayers. They have gone through a lot these last 2 days, a lot. It's this has got to be one of the uglier cases that I talked about, and it's just got an ugly ending. Keep it real. Tough video to do. I'm keeping it real. Smash a like. I think we'll end it with a little press conference, thanking people who were willing to come out and search. I know a few of you contacted me. We'll end it there, and until the next one, y'all.
Needless to say, tomorrow we don't need the volunteers to come out to assist us in looking for Taylen, but I just want to again thank everybody for volunteering to come out to help us